Another really important topic is transparency and opacity. And to demonstrate this, we're going to recreate an ad that one of our designers over at the NAPP created for this Wacom tips booklet, those Wacom pen and tablets. And the way it starts is with a background. So open up lesson 4A, but open up B, C, and D as well, because we're going to use all those images. Okay? And the first one we come across is lesson 4B. It's got this Wacom tablet on there. Well, what we want to do is put this tablet into this image, all right, on top of this background. If I just take it the way it is now, we're going to get the white background and everything. So we don't want that. So what we're going to do here is take the magnetic lasso tool from the toolbox, and I'm just going to go around the edges here, and I'm going to select the tablet. Don't worry about that stand because we're actually not going to use the stand part of it. And just bring this right along the edge, and it's going to do a pretty good job for you because that's a fairly harsh edge around there. All right. And all I'm doing is just bringing it around the edge. Every once in a while I click to drop an anchor point. And it's looking pretty good. Bring it around the top. And we're almost done. Okay. One more corner, and there we go. So now we've got a selection. Incidentally, refine edge. Give this one a click here. Just click on that dialog box, and it opens up a whole dialog where if you change, you can change the background here. We can go with white or we can go with black. And I can see how I did on my selection. I might just take contract and just bring that contract percentage down a little bit. It's going to just kind of bring my selection edge in a little bit. And then if I come down here under smooth, I can kind of smooth those edges just in case I get any of those jaggies, and then hit OK. So we'll get a better selection edge. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to move this object into the other document. So I'm just going to copy it, all right, Command or Control C, bring it over into this other document, lesson 4A, and I'm going to paste. And you see what it did? Because we only selected the Wacom tablet, it didn't take any of the white. All right, and it put it onto its own layer in the new document. And I'm just going to move it down a little bit, right down toward the bottom. But what's important about this is to just take a look here. I'm going to hide the background layer. Look at what it did. Look at everything else around it. Because up until now, we've seen a lot of layers that basically whatever's on the layer encompasses the whole layer. But here we've got this checkerboard. This is Photoshop's way to show you transparency because it can't show you white, because white's actually a color that you might want to use. So it shows you this checkerboard to mean that wherever you see this checkerboard means that on this layer it's transparent and you're going to see through to whatever's on the layer below. It's almost like those transparencies that, at least when I was in college, they used to use in that overhead projector, and the professor would layer transparencies on top of each other. All right, same kind of concept here. So we've got the background layer, and then we've got the tablet on it. Layer stacking order still comes into play, so we still see the tablet over the background, but anywhere that was transparent on that tablet layer, we're going to see through to the background layer, which is that green background. Okay, so let's bring a couple other images in here. Lesson 4C, you can see here I've already gone through the trouble of taking out this off of the background for you, so you can just select it. Just go to Select All, copy, and then bring it into this document, paste it in, move it up into the top middle area here, and then we'll do the same thing with 4D, copy, bring it in here, paste it in, and move it down, right down here toward the bottom. This is a perfect example of where that whole transparency stacking thing comes into play, because the stacking order still takes precedence. The stacking order still comes first. You can see the flowers are still above the text. All right, so that's why we see it, but anywhere else around the flowers, because if you look at the layer thumbnail, all right, see it's got that transparency grid. It means everything else around there was transparent. So that's why we see through it. So I'm going to take this and drag it below the text so it doesn't cover that up. All right. So that's kind of the first introduction to transparency, and it almost kind of leads into our next lesson, which is going to be opacity. So do yourself a favor, if you can't go straight into the next lesson, save this document as a PSD file, because we're going to pick up in the next lesson with the same image.